Hello, everybody, and welcome to Major Dom's Teams Deepin workshop. Today, we will look into how we can use the knowledge on interacting with Rackflow, as well as the Moonchain API to create our own AI doctor. With this set, I would like to begin with the creation of our project. Like you see it here, we would start with creation our folder, which is already done. The next step will be to initiate our NPM project. These libraries we will install so we are able to directly use the script as TypeScript. What is this now? For sure, there's a typo once again. So note that it works properly. The next step would be to initiate an npx DSC project, so a TypeScript project. This we are doing now. So here you can see the folders which have been created. The next step I want to show you is the installation of the needed libraries or dependencies. We will use ethers, sure, because we want to interact with EVM-based smart contracts. We also need Axios because we want to do HTTP calls. The next library will be zlib to be able to decompress our broadly data, which is the transaction data of the health data we will use today. So analyze kit. And the last one is a library which we can use to further format the health data. Because I think if you looked so far in the other tutorials which we have done on this Bloodly topic, then you see that even the uncompressed format is not easy to understand for humans, but as well for AIs. We are using this library to further format this data until we use it. And yeah, with this said, I would say we will go over to create our first script, which will be the query events.ts, which is also explained here, collect data from Moonchain. The first step would be to implement the data source as well as to define the API. We use this contract address as well as the API you can find here in this link. This is the API we will use for this only the API for the specific claimed event. And yeah, I would like to not fully type the coding parts, but to copy them today because sadly I don't have that much time until the workshop needs to go online. And because of this, yeah, I need to go this approach. But for everyone who is interested for code, you can find scripts for the steps in the last line of the specific step, but you also can find the link to the whole repository inside of here. I already edited, so you can see all the scripts which we used. You also can find the knowledge base, which is necessary to make it easier for Rackflow to get us health-specific responses. Yeah, with this said, we are already created the provider. Provider is for sure our RPC, and then we use the JSON RPC provider function from the ESIS library to create a provider. The next line is the setting of the contract address we will use. Then, of course, we have to set our API. Just will copy this and paste this also. Make it a little bit larger. With this steps done, we are able to create our contract object, which is this. For this, we are, like I said, we provide the provider, the API, which I just implemented into the code, as well as the contract address. The next step, which I want to show you, will be the decompress broadly function. For sure, we at first have to decompress or dechiffre the content because it will be base 46 compressed. When this is done, we are also able to decompress it via broadly decompression, and then we can return the decompressed buffer data. And our next step will be to create our track claimed events function, which is this one, which provides a promise with the token ID, the content, and the timestamp, and takes the block number from N2 to get searched events. For this, we will also use this filter because for sure we only want the transaction which have happened on this contract. And for sure, we only want the transactions between the from as well as the to block, which will be, like I said, the parameter when you call track claimed events. So the next two parts are to print them out. Then next we will create an array of transaction objects. Yeah, and in the next step, okay, here we don't get the logs. Sorry, we call the transactions which are fitting to this filter. And with this part, we are iterating through each of these transactions and get the token ID, the memo, as well as the timestamp, and write these into parse memo. Then, of course, we have to decompress the content. For sure, we have to call the already created function for this. We then push our found transaction into our transactions array. With this done, actually, the first step of our tutorial is already done, which would be collecting data from Moonchain.